We hop into Champion Select, ladies and gentlemen, but of course Dade has a lot more experience up against Pawn. Not going to be able to, you know, change. Oh, I'm struggling.
Well, no, actually, Blue were the Achilles heel to White when Dade was on it. They were the only team in the world that could beat White consistently.
Apart from at Worlds.
Yes, apart from at Worlds, because White won. As we see the pick and bans coming through, Lissandra, Thresh, and Siva being taken away from EDG. Across the other side of the rift, Lulu, Rek'Sai, and LeBlanc being taken away. Because you do not let Pawn get LeBlanc, and that Juggernaut comp too strong, so Lulu going on the bench. Yeah, and
I want to look at the Thresh ban here as well. Love City has shown so much prowess on that champion, and Condi, my goodness, Nidalee got through, and EDG actually put higher priority on that Maokai when EDG have the option of picking Nidalee as a flex.
They certainly do, and they're going to maybe even pick away the Corki, which are just two very big power picks across the other side of the rift. And I like this pick ban phase so far, but of course Maokai probably still the strongest super tank in the game.
Yeah, Pawn hovering some Vaga here, of course, has been changed on 5.4, but Pawn played it beforehand anyway. Clearlove thinking about a Lee Sin again, 7-0. His KDA on Lee Sin is 26.5 or something like that. Something completely ridiculous on that champion. Pawn instead going to be looking at Annie for Mako, and Mako has been brilliant on that champion. Completely understandable. Not anything clear coming through from EDG just yet.
I want to point out that the Annie is a flex pick. Annie very strong on this patch, even in mid lane. Good burst mage, so definitely not something we see
also
standard.
A pick away from Looper in the top lane.
But something like, please don't, something like an Ahri actually struggles against the Annie, because after the first dash, you just kill her. So see how that one works out, although Mako has been playing it to terrific effect in the bottom support position, as you mentioned. Clearlove's Lee Sin is very good.
Oh, yeah.
When you carry a 10 KDA, obviously you can play other junglers very well, but when you have a 26 KDA on a jungler, you're probably very good at it.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely an assumption that you can happily make. M3 now with another flex pick in there with the Morgana. Of course, haven't seen Dade play that. Sort of haven't seen Dade flex his sort of pick muscles all that often. Has picked up the Victor more recently, but sort of
He's the only person to pick Ryze. He has flexed his pick muscles a lot.
But I mean, I think you've got to do that and then do well in order to be able to say that.
I'll make sure to pass on the message. As we see Na being taken into the top lane for Looper, has played it very well. Hecarim wasn't banned away and didn't elect to take it into the Maokai matchup, of course.
Yeah.
Does sustain terrifically in that lane, and Def might actually look towards the Ezreal. No, it goes towards Lucian at the last minute, and Pawn has Ahri.
Oh my goodness, that is terrifying. Of course, you don't necessarily look at Pawn as being the Ahri player. There are the likes of Cool, and Korn as well has shown some fantastic skills on the Ahri as well at the same time, but Pawn, he can play every champion. I think ever. I'm not entirely sure what he can't play in the mid lane. I think maybe it's Bard, because I don't know.
Who isn't available, so that's why.
Precisely. He's not allowed to play Bard, therefore he's not going to be able to play it in the mid lane. Love City thinking about what he's going to pick to round out the lineup, and Dade going back to what is now considered his comfort pick in the Victor.
Yeah, it certainly is, but Victor is a counter pick. Ahri beats Victor in lane, very convincingly actually, so
yeah.
Dade was quite famous for this at the start of the season, has taken the cleanse, but has put himself in a losing lane matchup against a very strong opponent.
Yeah, and Dade often does this as well. I mean, it's not like he was just doing it at the beginning of the season. He just picks champions that he's comfortable in. It does make sense. Of course, if you have mastery over this champion, Dade tends to do that. He gets to the point where he's so good at a specific champion that has to be removed. His Azir does come to mind when we're thinking about that, and sort of historically a whole lot of other champions as well. His Zed is definitely, definitely terrifying. Yeah, of course. But look, we'll see whether he can take this Victor into the Ahri, but you have to think it'd be very dangerous. When you can just dash out of the way of the gravity field and not get hit by... Okay, it's just frightening. Koro, though, up against Looper here. The Tree versus the Nah. Pretty standard matchup there. And Clearlove on the Lee Sin once again against Condi, who's on the Nidalee. Incredibly strong this patch.
Yeah, it certainly is. Clearlove doesn't look impressed in that photo, actually.
No, he's not very psyched about this at all.
Giving him the stare down. And Pawn versus Dade. I like how they're wearing inverse colors.
I don't like that Pawn isn't wearing Dade's jacket.
Yeah, also true.
A little bit unfortunate there, but he's going to be taking the Victor into the Ahri, and look, we'll see how it goes here. If Dade gets some early help from Condi, who's of course able to clear out his jungle very quickly, is going to stay relatively healthy with that Primal Surge, you have to think, unless he resets his red buff on himself. We'll see how it works out here because it's seeming frightening. And Deft, we haven't even spoken about the bottom lane just because we've been so excited about this. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get onto the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with EDG taking on M3 for our third matchup of the night. You can see Condi there running through the jungle incredibly quickly, utilizing that passive. And this is a huge match. And Dade again with the counter pick. And what we were going to talk about before we hopped straight into the game was this bottom lane. And Deft has picked what has seemed to come out as the counter matchup here.
Yeah, it certainly does look to be that way. Although we see Dade getting aggressed on early. Might be in some trouble.
Yeah, actually walks away from the charm there. And it's actually going to cause all of EDG to back off. He got the ward down. Dade only takes an auto attack for his trouble. So nice juking ability. Of course, not walking up that path and just going to the right. So working out quite nicely.
Holds onto his flash, does burn the ghost. On the other side of the rift, we see Pawn actually used his to try and nail that charm. Did not. So exchanging of summoner spells in the mid lane for both Pawn and Dade. Have a little bit of a pause.
Yeah, going to a slight pause here, of course. But Lucian, Annie, have we seen this lane as of yet?
I don't know if we've seen it. It is a very logical lane because, of course, you can trade extremely well in the Annie stun. So I like what it brings. A lot of level 6 pressure as well.
Yep.
Coming through. Annie by herself is just level 6 pressure written all over it. So don't mind the matchup here. Good lane swap as well. 2 range. Annie roams extremely well, as we've seen from your support, Sync Dream, coming through. And yeah, so I definitely think it does provide something as we jump back onto the Rift. However, on the other side, Love CD and Candy probably going to be extremely safe with that Morgana, as well as the Corki, although Annie deals extremely well with Morgana, able to just throw out a spell, pop that Black Shield, and then be able to CC them up. Yeah, and we didn't mention the fact that Candy has played a lot of this Corki here as well. He's generally sort of known as this Callista player, this guy that plays a lot of these sort of champions in the bottom lane, but his Corki has been brought out quite a few times to quite a fair bit of success. Yeah, it certainly has, and we can see actually a lane swap coming through with it looks like EDG dodging away from the M3 bottom lane. So we're at a point now on this patch where lane swaps aren't even necessarily for dodging out different lanes. It's just the fact that it is so easy to lane swap and get specific things that you want, like farm onto your bottom lane unharassed, be able to deny CS away from these super tanks that were just getting obnoxiously tanky. And we see Mako maybe level 1 looking for the stun on Dade, who's already used his ghost. Yeah, it does have the flash available, of course, playing up so incredibly far. There's the Ignite. Clear Love's there as well, and Dade gets stunned, and that is the easiest first blood of Clear Love's life. Ooh. Oh, the manners in the mid lane from Pawn. Dade's going to be coming back with a vengeance into this lane, you have to think. Yeah, Pawn baited Dade so hard then. Just, he went pretty aggressive in the lane, you'd have to say there, Dade, and in the end was made to pay for it. And I wonder whether this was sort of in response to words traded before the game came through, of course. We'll never know. But I have a feeling something might have come through. The intellectual game from EDG starting off very strong thus far as Looper struggling to try and find some CS here in the top side, but does secure at least one. Actually has 2. Yeah, so we see that actually a wave being stacked up here, maybe even the potential dive coming through from the top lane duo of Deft as well as Mako. So they need to make sure that they send Looper some support relatively soon. Of course, Clearlove able to pick up that first kill, so he'll rotate up there as well, potentially after taking out that Rift Scuttler. And in the bottom lane, Koro doing much better. 10 CS, does miss out on the cannon though. Yeah, that was a little bit sad as the puddle going to come down and give Love City some money. He's looking to head back, wants to head top lane and help Looper out because, as you mentioned, might be in a little bit of trouble. Clearlove going to go back and spend a whole bunch of gold that he picked up from that first blood. And you can see Dade changed his tone here in the mid lane, playing a whole lot more defensively. Yeah, certainly is backing away from Pawn there. Pawn has the level advantage as well, level 3 to level 4, as we see Condi actually being spotted out by a ward. So EDG know where the jungler of M3 is. Gonna fall relatively low here, although we'll get some help from Love CD. Yeah, Love CD not gonna spot that ward, but EDG probably not gonna go too aggressive knowing that there's 3 members of M3 here in this top side of the map. Being said, Looper, not a whole lot he can do right now as far as going forward because Annie, Mako sitting on that stun.
And unless Love City can come through with sort of the best timed...
He's level 1. He has nothing. The
yeah.
best timed pull of all time?
Yeah, the best timed pull. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Mako, though, does actually have the Relic Shield up here in the top lane.
Yeah, so going for that one as the Annie, a little bit tankier stats as well as some quicker pushing if you do want to turn the lane around.
It also helps to charge your stun, doesn't it, without, you know, potentially stealing away farm from your AD carry?
Yep, that's one of the benefits. Or you could just throw your Q at a champion and do some damage at the same time.
Hey, that's a good idea. I like it, definitely. But trading some auto attacks here, definitely Deft taking the one up on that front. Looper playing far further back, is about to get that Mega Gnar. Mako playing very far forward though. And Love CD, we'll see whether he's got the binding or whether it is that black shield that he's got is level 2. I have a feeling that it's probably the bind, so that stun's still very dangerous coming through from Mako.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we see in the mid lane, 10 CS already the advantage for Ari, even though she went back early to pick up that Codex as well as a pink ward, so some good vision going to be put down in the mid lane for EDG. Dade has both summoners available because he didn't use Flash in the first gank, as Condi looking for a little bit of jungle pressure here, won't be able to find it. Clearlove sweeping out that ward. Yeah,
the little Wolf Spirit is easily going to be able to give him heads up on that spear coming through, and Condi not going to find him with that one. It's Clearlove continuing just to head around his jungle here. Condi doing about the same. Condi going to have the faster clear time, but Trailblazer and, of course, that longsword now completed by Clearlove as the charm actually lands here in the mid lane. There's the Orbit Deception, the Ignite down onto Dade as the ultimate comes through. The last auto attack not going to be enough, but Dade has to be very careful. A stray Q from Pawn will spell the death of this Victor.
And I like that you mentioned the auto attacks that were coming through from Pawn. Those that watch Pawn play mid lane know that he weaves auto attacks in between spells extremely efficiently, and when you're able to reset like that, it does great things for yourself. He burns another summoner out of Dade, that Ghost being gone. They have to rotate 2 members into the mid lane to relieve pressure, and all this means that in the top lane, Looper falling further and further behind.
Yeah, and Mako now actually threatening a potential dive here as well, as they're zoning Looper away from this wave of experience. There's actually the Dark Binding, Relentless Pursuit going to get Deft out of trouble. But Looper missed out on a whole lot of creeps as a nice piercing light comes down from Deft here at the same time.
18 is the advantage currently for Koro in that lane. We've complimented Koro all season long on how well he's been able to play the top lane matchups, both in a 1v1 and a 2v2, and looks like tonight's going to be no exception, slowly building a lead.
Yeah, and of course he has the 1v1 here as well, but doesn't have the range advantage as Black Shield comes through. Love City gets ignited. Those Deft, he finds the last passive, and the Ignite going to be enough to secure the kill. And 2v2 under the tower. EDG pick up another one.
That was a terrible play coming out of Love CD there. He's given up another wave of experience. Loop is going to have to go back, potentially use his teleport. They're going to lose the turret for sure. And that is not good news, as in the bottom lane now they're looking for a turret dive.
Yeah, Clearlove looking for Candy here, but of course Koro and himself both relatively low, so not going to find anything.
And Looper goes for the Phage as the first item. That's an extremely aggressive build, especially after you've lost your turret this early. Maybe expecting a swap back. Maokai going to be in his lane, so looking for some pressure in the 1v1 matchup. But Maokai at this point, 30 CS up, doesn't really care about what the Gnar is going to be doing.
Yeah, well, exactly. He does have that double Doran's ring here at the same time. Has picked up a whole bunch of vision here for this top laner. Hasn't actually put anything down. He's going to head back to base, but
got 1,150 gold, so a little bit shy of that Catalyst if he wants to pick that one up. And it does look like they'll swap back to standard lanes.
Yeah, and Koro does actually pick up that Catalyst.
Yeah, so waited for it in base.
Not too bad. So he's going to have a whole lot of extra regen as Looper finally manages to get some spare time with this minion wave. Koro just going to walk up, and that's important to note because that means that the dragon pressure is still going to be able to be answered by both M3 and EDG.
Yeah, it certainly is important. However, it puts Looper in an extremely long lane against the Lee Sin, who's already picked up Warriors Enchant, which is a dangerous prospect, particularly when you don't build any early defensive stats. So Looper needs to be careful, probably let the lane come to him as we see the blue handoff come through to Pawn, who has a 14 CS advantage at this point in the game. And Deft, is actually going for the, I guess, very early brawling build. It's got a great level 1 spike on the Lucian. Probably going for the Bloodthirster first up. Has the Vamp Scepter in there.
That was a beautiful dodge out of that Dark Binding.
That's pretty good at League of Legends.
Yeah, he is pretty good at League of Legends. Thank you very much. The analyst here, ladies and gentlemen. As Dade just going to wander past that Orb of Deception. Nice Death Ray to come through. Gravity Field. Pawn not going to blow the ultimate just yet, but does use it to dodge out of the way of that spear. Clear Love comes through as well. Lands the Sonic Wave onto Condi. Not exactly the target he was looking for, but oh, was that the stun? The Tibbers comes down. Condi's going to die, and Clear Love helping out with another kill now, as Pawn actually picks up the kill credit, and EDG just seamlessly transition into this first dragon.
And now that's a double buff Ari in the mid lane. Things not going the right way for Master3 at all. They give up 3 early kills, a 3,000 gold advantage, as well as first dragon, and they're not done.
This is absolutely ridiculous. EDG and Vici Gaming, I swear, are sharing like drinks from the same glass or something like that. They are both looking completely unstoppable on the Rift against whoever they are with. And Dade, oh my goodness, I feel like we shouldn't have even shown that.
So Master3 currently getting picked apart, I think fair to say. EDG just rotating around the map extremely well. Now going to look to grab the first turret of the game. And in a second turret, and in the best possible lane, it is going to be mid. So they'll push through, be able to pick that one up. And all of a sudden, 4,000 gold is the lead 11 minutes into the game. Yeah,
and Deft, again, we've complimented Deft on his ability to be in exactly the right lanes for pushing down the turrets that EDG want, especially when he's playing the likes of Corki. And now on the Lucian, similar power spikes, similar sort of goals here in this game, both of them pushing turrets very quickly if they get some spare time, especially with that Lightslinger passive that comes through from Deft. And he's got this high AD build with the Bloodthirster first. As the culling comes through in the bottom lane, Candy taking a lot of harassment.
Yeah, it does, but Condi in position.
Yeah, Mako gonna get stunned up here as well. There's a Phosphorus Bomb. Condi picks up the kill. The heal from Deft not quite enough as the spear lands, but Condi not wanting to push his advantage too much. And M3 finally answering back here in the bottom side of the map. Koro, he's going to go aggressive onto Looper here. Doesn't have much in the Nabar here at all, as the Vengeful Maelstrom going to pop onto Looper.
Yeah, also Pawn rotating into the lane as well, looking for the kill. Probably will get it.
Yeah, looking for it. Now there's the Spirit Rush to come down Foxfire. There's the flash over the wall as well, but Dade looking for something. Koro is there for a little bit of support. And the Charm not going to find Looper here as well as he sweeps out that ward, but very close here. And this Ari hasn't actually been back to base for quite some time. Could potentially pick up that Morellonomicon very quickly and possibly finish off Boots. Might just pick up a needlessly large rod because, of course, 1,800 gold is what's sitting in the back pocket of this Ari.
Yeah, certainly is 2-0-1, having a great early game coming through. Koro with that Catalyst, getting all the mana back that he lost in that trade. And I think Dade was making a statement there. He was like, see how my lane came to your lane and I actually followed them? Gets a stun through, actually.
Yeah, doesn't use the Chaos Storm.
Looper, maybe try it next time, buddy, as we see Condi actually take a visit to Looper's lane this time, to Dade's lane, trying to put a little bit of pressure on this Ari, who's just so far ahead. Goes back, finishes up the Morellonomicon, grabs a Blasting Wand, more pink wards for Pawn, using his advantage to help out his team as well. Bloodthirster finished up for death, so across the whole map, power spikes being reached for EDG very early in the game.
Yeah, and this is before the next dragon is available as well, able to sort of take that one very, very early on, but now going to be able to push their advantages in the lanes even more so. You can see M3 not wanting to approach these EDG members in any lane at this stage of the game.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look to be the case. I'll actually force Candy off the last of the outer turrets, so by 13 minutes, EDG are able to pick up all outer turrets, a 5,000 gold advantage.
This is ridiculous.
They're picking up exactly where they left off last night.
They most certainly are, and that series was ridiculous as Dade gets caught by a charm. The Chaos Storm comes down, but oh, the Spear's going to find Pawn here, but Clearlove's going to find him as well. Love City pops the Soul Shackles. Clearlove's going to get stunned up. It's a double kill though for Pawn. Clearlove survives yet again somehow. Mako throwing down Tibbers there to help his jungler. And I thought Clearlove might die for the first time on Lee Sin this weekend, but not happening this time.
Yeah, definitely not happening. Clearlove showing his masteries as that champion, just balancing the perfect amount of damage. Dade, completely lack of vision, blind, walks through the jungle, gets caught out, trying to go back to mid lane. And you have to say, 4-0-1, Pawn looking pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, this is Pawn who picked Katarina into Ahri in a counter matchup. I mean, you give Pawn a matchup that's good. I don't really understand.
Yeah, so M3 now have a long way to climb back into this game. They have a good team fight available, don't get me wrong. However, all of their power points where they thought they would be ahead in this game with the first evolution, with the fact that the Trinity Force should come in roughly the same time as well.
Yeah, Condi going to get caught by a charm, and he is dead. Takes a little while. Pawn does secure that kill.
Yep, so Pawn able to pick up another kill. Now 5-0 on 1. Has another 1,800 gold when he goes back to shop. Also has that level 2 ultimate now, and a minute on Dragon. This is a rough game for Master3.
It most definitely is, and Pawn just so good in this Ahri. Actually just throwing out the Orbit Deception to get further around the map quicker.
Yeah, of course, that movement speed extremely useful when you're not going to be fighting in the next couple of seconds. So using that to great advantage. Clearlove even going an aggressive build, picks up the Hex Drinker. Of course, there is a lot of magic damage coming through from the Master3 lineup, so it does couple as that defensive item as well. Like the pickup there, looking to get as aggressive as possible and push this lead. Of course, when you are 1,200 gold ahead of your jungler, you can pretty much pick up any item you want for free.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's not going to put him behind too badly. He probably could have got a needlessly large rod and still been relevant. But of course, not going to do that because Marta isn't in this game. Spawn actually shaking his head. I mean, at that point, I'm sorry. I won't talk about those games ever again. We've done that once. Let's not go there again.
And once again, we see Pawn as a solo just setting up in the denial of vision, trying to pick off any members of M3 that walks through. You would think it might be Condi this time around, although it doesn't look like they want to go anywhere near neutral territory at this point. So EDG will be able to pick up their second dragon of the game.
Yeah, a whole lot of deep vision for EDG around this blue side jungle of M3. They knew that they weren't spotted at all. I mean, there is a ward there, so they were spotted, but they knew that no one was coming to contest that on the side of M3. Condi was on the top side of the map. I think they even pinged him out there as well, as Lupa might get towards this outer turret, but Koro is, of course, there. And no joy as far as any turret take's going to be taken here from Lupa in the top side of the map. And this is just the beginnings of a shutout from EDG.
Yeah, it's a complete shutout, apart from that one kill that was picked up by Condi in the bottom lane. This looks like it's nearly going to be the perfect game. They're so far ahead. Deathcap is finished off when Pawn goes back to base. That is a 17-minute 2-item Ahri.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrifying. And Candy taking a lot of damage from Deft here as well, who's actually 1v2. Mako is sitting around the side, but...
Well, he's just building up his shield and trading very smart with the Bloodthirster shield coming through. So I like the way Deft's playing the lane. Also looking for the Static Shiv as the second item. So a very efficient build coming through from Deft, recognizing how far ahead they are, not needing to go for any late game stats, just getting his build together as quick as possible. And we see Clearlove and Mako rotating through the jungle. They've caught someone out.
Yep, Love City's been caught here as well. Soul Shackles to come down, but Love City's going to die before it goes off. The Chaos Storm, Pawn actually having to be very careful. Candy gets the shutdown, but EDG, they finish off Dade at the same time. Candy taking a bit of damage from Mako here as well, who manages to stun up Lupa, but he's pretty tanky at this stage, has that Spectre's Cowl. And Clearlove, he's looking for the Sonic Wave. Is it going to land? Is he going to be able to land it on Candy above all else? As Koro's going to get tagged by a spear, but he's pretty tanky. EDG, though, not able to chase any further.
Yeah, so able to trade a kill for a kill. Of course, Love CD went down before that fight started, but Candy gets the shutdown of Pawn.
Yeah, and Dade going towards that death cap as well here for his first item, unless you include that Hex Core. Of course, upgraded one time here. Has actually stayed up in farm relatively well. 14 behind when his lane opponent was 5-0-1.
Yeah, but you have to say that Pawn really hasn't been pressuring the lane too hard. Instead, playing around with vision, using Ahri's pick potential really to the fullest. And we see a gank coming in on Koro. That's been scouted out, although might eat a spear here if he's not careful.
Yeah, Koro, he's just going to wander out of the way. Takes one auto attack, but is going to be fine. And Deft again finds himself in a 1v2, and again, he's not too phased.
Yeah, always knows that his team's there for support, rotating now into the bottom lane. He must be sitting on a gold mine as well, 1,800 gold. Not actually going for the bottom wave, instead deciding to recall, finish off an item, and across the board, EDG just have complete control over everything you could possibly hope. If they closed their eyes and pictured how they wanted to play against M3, you would think this is a pretty close example.
Oh, most definitely. 30 CS is the advantage here for Deft. He finishes the static shift, so that's the 2-item spike now for Deft here as well on this Lucian. He's going to have a whole lot of extra movement speed, a whole lot of extra AoE damage here as well, and his burst potential coming down with that first crit as Dade gets caught by another charm. And Pawn, I mean, I guess that's shield was helping a little bit as he gets stunned up here as well. Clearlove actually going to tank the black shield as Love CD is going to take so much damage from that Tibbers Looper with a decent flank here. The Hyper Proc not available on a Pawn, but the spear from Condi finishes him off as Clearlove comes around. Looper not quite with enough rage in his Narbar, and Red Buff doing a fair bit of damage to Clearlove. Doesn't have a whole lot of armor just yet, focusing on that magic resistors. There's the Sonic Wave. Koro comes through with the Twisted Advance. Black Dark Binding though. He's going to lock him down for just a little bit. Condi has to worry about how much mana he's got at this stage as he's healing up Looper to the best of his ability. This red buff was being so frustrating as there's the wallop under Koro, but not going to save Condi as Clearlove picks up his 3rd kill of the game. M3, admittedly showing signs of life, but it's just EDG being so far ahead.
Yeah, EDG are terrifically ahead in this game, but Pawn coming out with the feeding strategy currently.
Yeah.
Has given up 2 kills. So I have to watch how that continues to stack up as the game goes on. Of course, he's picked up 7 of his own, so definitely not doing bad by any stretch of the imagination. But it looks like M3 are just having horrible communication problems. Looper scoops back with his ultimate to disengage the fight completely, and then Nidalee walked back into 3 members, got locked up and died at the end of that. Dade, 0-5-2, not having a terrific game so far. See if he can turn it around. Is getting a lot of upfront damage down before he dies. Although with the Sork boots now picked up for Pawn, you would think that he's probably not going to live through the charm.
Yeah, and he's going towards that Abyssal Scepter here at the same time, so he's going to be able to shrug off a bunch of Dade's damage once that one does come through. And honestly, he could just build a Void Staff here and just insta-kill Dade.
You could build what? Yeah, Void Staff. I personally like Twin Shadows just to catch even more people out.
That's a good point. I like Frozen Mallet because he likes weaving auto attacks so much. What do you think?
I like it. CC.
Yeah. There it is.
Useful.
Yeah.
So we see Dragon actually up in 30 seconds. Clearlove and Mako as ahead in this game as they are for the Dragon. A little bit early, but they'll be able to stall this one out. Actually looking for a kill on the mid lane. Clearlove goes in.
Oh, there's the Flash Tibbers as well over the wall. Dade. This is adding insult to injury now. That Chaos Storm not going to be doing too much at all as Tibbers just takes half of his health. And EDG are going to be able to transition into this 3rd Dragon for themselves at 23 minutes.
And their vision control has just been fantastic across the map. They've really controlled exactly where they know M3 are going to be looking to go. And Looper's now being caught out by Deft.
Yeah, caught out by the AD carry is the tanky top laners. There's the culling. Looper may actually die here as well. Oh, the last hit, not quite enough. Deft flashes for the kill. And, I mean, Clearlove gets an assist from the safeguard. That was a bit cute, but
meanwhile,
it's getting frightening.
Benny Hill music, there's no way that is going to be caught in the bottom lane as Pawn takes out another turret. 22 minutes as a 10,000 gold advantage over to EDG.
Yeah, and that's going to be the 3rd Dragon here at the same time. Easily taken here by Clearlove and Mako. And this game got out of control incredibly quickly, and I guess the question that M3 has to ask themselves now is how do they turn around from this and face the next game?
Well, they don't have a choice is the first thing, so they have to do it.
That's a good point.
However, as we mentioned pre-game, EDG are like an upgrade of M3 in every single position. They're just so good at the moment.
Do you mean that by playstyle as well?
They even try and play simple. Wow.
Okay, yeah. Pawn is going to kill Condi.
Yep. So
back to your point.
Condi's dead. So the problem is that you look at exactly what EDG across the map. So they control vision very well. They pick people off. They are in complete control at every stage of the game. Dade and Looper were known for their controlled styles. They were known for good tactical awareness. Looper, of course, a fantastic use of the teleport summoner, was known for playing these tanky top laners and being able to influence the rest of the map. And Dade, of course, just had his standout champions that he was able to teamfight very well with. So you look at exactly what EDG are bringing to the map and how M3 are trying to counter it, and you just don't see a way for it to happen because mechanically they look better at this point. They're better laners across the board, and then they look like they have a superior understanding on how the current League of Legends should be played. And when you're coupling that with the fact that they have all winning lanes, it's just really difficult for M3 to take any part of the map for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's even before we consider champion picks, or is that what you sort of meant as in the last point?
Yeah, well, champion picks come in there as well, as we've seen that Lupa hasn't really been at his best this whole season. Dade, of course, hasn't as well. Condi's actually been okay on the Nidalee pickup this time around, although I think that M3 perform better when they do have a tankier lineup, especially coming from the jungle position. But yeah, there's just, across the board, they picked a couple of champions away, like the Corki, and it really hasn't led to much. Deft has looked completely at home on this Lucian. Lane swap didn't go in their favor, of course, as that charm just missing out from Dade. And yeah, the problem is, once again, I don't know what M3 do in a pick ban phase to really upset EDG to the point that their win conditions are taken away.
Oh, red buff about to spawn. Oh, actually, the boomerang didn't quite land here as Clearlove with some fancy footwork. Coro going to cop a spear there, but
that was
M3,
a max range spear.
Yeah, and it did nothing. Almost at all. Of course, only the Spectre's Cowl to come through, but he's got so much health, does Coro. There is a Seraph's Embrace onto Condi, and Love City looking to try and get a ward down here. The culling coming through the wall. There's a Twisted Advance actually onto Love City. Coro very deep in this fight. Dade with a lot of burst. Coro is going to take down Love City though and flash away. Nice gravity field going to stop Deft, but in comes Pawn with so much damage. The miss of the Gnar there by Looper as Pawn picks up Dade with the end of that Ignite. And EDG, they get the engage that they're looking for, and Candy, he has to be very, very careful. Now House goes wide as the rockets are coming down as well, and M3, oh my goodness, the aggressive relentless pursuit. He wants Condi, doesn't find the last hit of that passive. And the spear not going to find Coro here as well, as Deft was just flirting with death there.
So the thing is, they didn't even get the engage they're looking for. Coro ended up across the map by himself and was able to tank it up. It's just they're at the point of the game where they're that far ahead that any engage is the engage they're looking for.
I guess that's sort of what I meant.
It's just,
it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is. And when your top laner Twisted advances, yeah, an entire screen length away, generally that means
into 4 members
that he dies. But not when it's Coro, of course. He did take a lot of damage, had to use that flash in order to get out of there, and Dade still has a decent amount of AoE burst damage, but when you've got a gold lead of 11,000 at 27 minutes into the game, when you've been completely shut out of every single buff, when you have absolutely no ward control at all around the map, you can't expect much from M3, and that honestly probably went as well as it could have.
Yeah, it definitely looked to be that way, as Def takes down another outer turret, this time in the mid lane. So extending that gold lead. Dade trying to grab as much solo farm as he can, although needs to be careful because EDG have clearly turned their sight towards this Baron objective. And it looks like, once again, M3 just going to seed it away. They've sent Candy back. Dade's back in base as well. There's not really much they can do.
Yeah, and Pawn and Mako actually waiting for a pick here as well. So much upfront CC to come through, and the burst damage from Pawn will be absolutely terrifying. Doesn't quite have the Void Staff completed, but that when it is finished, that's 5-item Ahri at 27 minutes, 28 minutes into this game. Against sort of Dade here with just that death cap. Does actually have it completed, does have an Amp Tome going towards that Void Staff here as well, as Pawn's going to throw an Orb of Deception at his teammates. Deft going to use that Baron buff to help push out this wave and then Empowered Recall back to base. And EDG probably looking to buy up and then try and break the base of M3.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be that way. And Pawn 3 levels ahead of Dade just because of all the passive experience that's coming through as well. So Dade actually the only same level as his jungler, which must be a strange feeling, as we have Pawn once again looking for Condi.
Yeah, actually Spirit rushes into him. Look at the damage. The Seraph's Embrace shield nowhere near enough as the charm actually goes wide. Candy with a lot of burst, but there's the safeguard from Clearlove and just kicked in the head. Flashes out of the way of the Soul Shackles here as well, but then wants to go back in for some more. Mako running through so quickly. Dade gets the focus as the gravity field onto the little Annie. Is Annie going to die? Lupa trying to take him down, and Mako doesn't even get killed by the Chaos Storm. And EDG, it's close to an ace. Only Love City available as the surrender vote no doubt comes through. And EDG once again What a ridiculous performance.
Yeah, that was a game of League of Legends, and EDG played it extremely well. Across the map, they won every single lane. 10-2-4, the standout performance in the mid lane. And we see right there, not a very happy M3.
No, not a happy Dade there as well. And Pawn, he's looking a little bit nonchalant. Another day at the office, checked his watch. Yeah, my goodness. I wonder whether that was for the camera. Of course, had a giggle afterwards. So.
Yeah, he certainly did. And EDG look unstoppable.
They certainly do. They look completely unstoppable. And I guess you can only really compare it to the likes of Vinci's performance today and yesterday as well. They've also been fantastic, but it hasn't been against sort of, Gamty and maybe not the top tier teams, but have been looking fantastic. But EDG, they just look leagues ahead.
Yeah, they certainly do. They look really on point. They're clicking on all cylinders, and it really looks like they're the team to beat.
Yeah, and Clearlove again with an immortal performance. But ladies and gentlemen, there is still one more match to go in this series, and we'll see whether M3 can answer